Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we are going to be talking about my March favorites. So normally these videos go up like the first week of the new month, but it has been a little bit of a whirlwind. I was doing some traveling, I did a book signing in North Carolina, I did 2 book signings in North Carolina, and then I had really bad seasonal allergies, lost my voice, felt very sick for most of last week. But we've come back around and I might need to stop to take a breath every once in a while, but we are still here and we are back to work. So today I'm going to be showing you, I think 9 or 10 plants and plant products that made my life easier this month or just in general stuck out to me. So we're going to start off with one of the most commented items in my last couple of videos. I've had a lot of people ask about this, and it is this right here. This is a crochet plant. It's been sitting on my shelf right here in front of my book, and I have had, I can't even tell you, like maybe 10 to 20 comments asking what plant it is, because I feel like from far away it doesn't look fake. So this was actually given to me by my friend Natalie. Her Instagram is right here, natjoy22. So if you want to go follow her and see her creations. But anyway, so she gifted this to me at the Chicago plant swap. And it is so cute. It is absolutely beautiful. And it honestly blends in. Like, a lot of people did not know it was fake, like I said. And if you didn't know this about me, I really love making fake plants. So I am going to figure out how she did this and maybe do a tutorial or something like that, because I think that would be super fun to show you how to make a crochet plant. She said it was pretty simple, so I think I'm gonna try it and keep you updated on how it goes. But I'm just so thankful that she made me this. It's such a beautiful addition to my shelf right here. I just love the way it looks and I get so many questions on it, so I figured that I would let you all know publicly that it's fake. It's not real at all. Okay, but as far as real plants, I wanted to show you 2 of my newest plants. So I mentioned in my begonia video a couple months ago that I had ordered some of this. What is this? Begonia brevermosa, I believe it's called. So it has a super, super gorgeous pink coloring on it. And it's like a neon pink, and it is a cane begonia. So it's got that like angel wing shaped leaf, and I got 2 of them. And the reason that I got 2 of them was because I knew that it would be pretty small. So I am going to pot it together, and not my podcast. I am going to pot these 2 together and probably put them either on this shelf right here or I don't know, maybe somewhere else. I'm not exactly sure. I might actually grow them in the greenhouse. I'm not quite sure, but a lot of people told me that this is actually a little bit of a harder begonia to grow. So now that I've said that out loud, it might actually end up in my IKEA greenhouse, not my outside greenhouse. So anyway, I got it from Tennessee Tropicals, and they waited to ship it until the temperatures were better in my area, which is something that I really love about them. I've ordered from Tennessee Tropicals so many times. They're definitely one of my favorites, and they turned out to be so, so beautiful. We already have some new growth coming in on this one, and I think that's all. I don't see any new growth coming in on this one just yet, but yeah, super excited to have these. They're so beautiful, and I just love cane begonias. Okay, we're gonna do another plant real quick because I have the propagations of, remember when I did a plant chores video where I showed, you know, chopping up my big Adansonii tree a little bit because it was having a lot of runners, and I didn't like the way that that looked. They were all hanging on the ground, and it just wasn't it because it ran out of pole actually. So now it's just making a descent back down the pole because there's nowhere else to go, and I don't want to add on to the pole because it's already very, very tall. So anyway, these are the cuttings, some of the cuttings. Actually, there's a lot of cuttings that I took off of it, but this is just some of them. As you can see, it rooted up really, really nicely, and I'm sort of torn on what to do with it. I'm kind of considering starting a new Adansonii tree with all of the cuttings that I took. I think that'd be really cool to make a new Adansonii tree from the old Adansonii tree. So I'm sort of, I don't know, like going through my head how exactly I want to do that. But there really aren't any top cuttings, so it'll be quite a while before we do actually get some climbing action. But I think that if I baby it and I have it in a very humid environment, it will do it pretty early on. We'll just have to see. But I am going to be putting it on a piece of wood. As you can see, Well, you can only see one of them right now, or maybe two of them, but I have been growing my plants on planks as of lately instead of like a moss pole or something, and I'm really, really enjoying it, especially with my Epiprimnum. This one right here, it is growing a new leaf already after it just put out the other new leaf, and it looks like it's going to be starting to interact with the wood pretty soon, but I do need to put it on a taller wood piece because it's already outgrowing it, which is pretty crazy. So anyway, I just have been really loving the plants on planks thing, and I think that it has been a really awesome alternative to using a moss pole because I don't have to water it, and I just have to make sure that the room is humid, which will be very easy in the summertime as it's getting like warmer and more humid. This room gets very humid and warm, and it's basically a greenhouse, so it's really nice to have those conditions in here without really putting any extra effort in. It's just built in, and I really appreciate that. Another item that I have gotten so many questions about lately is this sweatshirt from Plant Dosage. So it's a little wrinkly, sorry, but I've been wearing this in my plant chores videos lately just because I wear it all the time. And it is from Plant Dosage, so let me show you the back. There we go. They're an Etsy shop and really, really awesome shop. They also have earrings and other apparel pieces, but this is definitely like my favorite. I think that this is so fun. So definitely go check them out. I'll have it linked down below, but I just got so many questions about this sweatshirt. It was a little like overwhelming and shocking because I have worn it in other videos prior to this, but I think maybe it was just more noticeable in these most recent videos, but every time I've worn it recently, I've gotten questions. So we'll settle it once and for all. It's linked down in the description box below. It is a fertilizing season, and I wanted to just do another shout out to the fertilizer that I use. This is the Tanks Super Mix Organic Fertilizer. It is a gentle organic fertilizer that sort of acts as a slow release fertilizer. And you've seen in my recent videos where I use these little measuring cups. I'm nervous to reach in here with a white sweater, but I use these little measuring cups. I have a small one, a medium one, and a large one. And just based on the pot size, I'll sprinkle in that amount of fertilizer just on the top of the plant. And then I water the plant, and then that fertilizer will incorporate into the soil, and it works really well long term. And I will say that I've had a ton of new growth happening this spring already. I'm actually overwhelmed. Like, I think that I haven't usually had this much growth already at this point in spring. And I really have to attribute it to the fact that I started fertilizing in early March, end of February. And I've been pretty consistent about doing it each month since then. So I fertilize once a month. Anytime I give my dogs their medication for fleas and ticks and heartworm, I also make sure that I fertilize my plants around the same time, like the next time I water. So about once a month I'm fertilizing with that fertilizer, and it's so good. I have had this specific bag for a year, I think, and I'm still only halfway through it. So it doesn't expire, obviously, and you just buy it once and you don't have to buy it for, I would say, maybe 2 years, depending on how many plants you have and what you're using it on. But this fertilizer is also really nice because you can use it on anything. So you can also use it out in the garden, on your flowers, all that kind of stuff. A plant that has really, really benefited from that fertilizer is this elbow Monstera. So as you can see, I got this original leaf as a gift from a friend on Instagram, and it was very, very generous, and I was so happy. And it ended up putting out this piece right here, so this growth point. And it did not do anything for the last basically year and a half since I moved here until this spring, and I did fertilize it. I honestly think that it is because of the fertilizer that this is all of a sudden happening, because I have repotted it once, still nothing happened, and then I started fertilizing it in early spring, and we have finally a new leaf. And this plant has always been a little bit fickle with its variegation. As you can see, this first leaf has good variegation, but it's not like super strong and like very big white margins, which I don't typically like on an elbow, because I really think that it's better to have a good modeling of variegation rather than like big white sections. It just doesn't last as long, and the leaf will get brown spots, and it's just not as pretty. So the first leaf that it put out was this one, and it was very pretty. It has like very subtle variegation. And then it put out this, which basically had no variegation except for this top piece and a little bit through the body. And then it put out this leaf, which has very good variegation. I was super happy with that. And now we have this one, and I'll open it up for you gently. And it looks like it's just going to be like a salt and pepper-y variegation leaf. We have a little bit more white down here at the bottom. I'm seeing that. But for the most part, it looks like it's just like a nice jumble of green and white. And I'm super, super excited. I don't know how visible any of that really was, like through the camera lens, but I think it's gonna be a very beautiful leaf, and I'm super excited to see how this plant does long term. And I think while it's young, I'm probably going to be putting it on a pole. But honestly, this is one of those plants that I kind of more or less forgot about or didn't really pay much attention to at all, because it was stable, but it just wasn't doing anything. And that was really boring for me. And I tend to get bored of plants if they're just stable and not growing. It's nice, I guess, but also at the same time, I like seeing them change and grow and do new things, because it keeps my attention span on them. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm super stoked about that. And honestly, I have to give it to the fertilizer, because I didn't change anything else besides fertilizing it that one time. And it's been amazing. And I did fertilize it again a few days ago in the most recent watering. So I'm really stoked to see this plant continue to put out new leaves. And I think this new leaf is gonna be a pretty good size too. So super exciting. Something that is not exactly plant related, but I wanted to talk about are my Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. And I'm a big fan of Bose. I think if you've followed me and you pay attention, especially in my garden videos, I'm always wearing like headphones or earbuds. And yeah, I really, really love these so much. They were a Christmas present from Daniel. We actually both got them for each other for Christmas, which was a nice little couple thing, you know, couples these days. I'll have them linked down below if you're interested. But they're Bluetooth headphones, and they are noise canceling. And in the past, I have answered a question where somebody asked me like how good the noise canceling is. And I have to say, I think the noise canceling is better on these than the over-the-head headphones, which I have been wearing the over-the-head headphones for a while. If you've watched me, you've for sure seen me wearing them, because I absolutely love them. I think that they're the best things ever. But these are a little bit smaller and more compact, better for traveling, like quickly just throwing them in your bag or something like that. It's basically like the Bose version of AirPods. And I am just literally the biggest fan of Bose and the biggest fan of these specifically. So if you are looking for like an AirPod alternative, if you don't like AirPods or whatever, Bose for sure. And I have a link down below. It's an affiliate link, not through Bose as an influencer, but just as a Bose user. I have an affiliate link. So if you're interested, definitely go check that out. Now, I feel like I have not shut up about this situation, but I can't. I'm literally so excited and happy that this happened. But this is my elbow Syngonium that I cut down to basically just a bunch of stems, and I cut off all of the leaves, which are propagating in water and have rooted really nicely. And I'll probably be potting them all back together in one situation. But I just wanted to show this to you because I don't know if I've updated in a sit down video. I've done it in a lot of plant vlogs, but if you don't watch my vlogs, you have no idea what's happening. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of stems that I cut down. I basically just did a big chop. It was very tall and there was a lot of empty stems. So I did a big chop, and I was very pessimistic and like scared to do it. It needed to be done years ago, honestly, but I was too scared to do it. I felt like the plant wouldn't come back and then it would be a really bad situation. But having this plant start over is probably the best thing that I ever did for it, because the new growth that is coming in is so beautiful. And again, the variegation isn't like big white margins, although this leaf has like some pretty good white pieces through it. And I'm seeing some new leaves coming in that are like almost entirely white, like this one right here, if you can see that. That's like basically entirely white. This leaf coming in looks like it has a lot of mottling on it. This little babe has lots of white. But in general, most of these leaves look mostly green or like just a little bit of beautiful white variegation, which again, I prefer. I think that's a little bit better for the plant. But funny, because this leaf right here came out completely solid green, which has happened. There have been a few pieces of the plant that reverted, but the next leaf coming out of it is really, really nicely variegated. I doubt that it'll pick up on camera, but I can see that it has some pretty nice variegation coming in. And I just think that it's a cool testament to show like how different each leaf will come out on this plant. And I'm confident that as it grows more, it'll continue to put out more heavy variegation, but I'm just super excited that it looks the way that it does and that it is healthy and happy and made it through the big chop. I'm so happy that I did it. So if you are considering doing a big chop on your plants, or you know, you're too nervous or whatever it may be, it's definitely worth it. And it has given me the confidence to do a big chop on a few of my other plants. Like I think I'm gonna do a big chop on my Albo Monstera, the big one. Well, it's not that big, but like, you know, bigger than other ones that I have. And then also I'm going to do a big chop on my Philodendron Splendid, which is the Melanochrysum verrucosum cross. I've been so nervous to cut that one up. I've never cut it up, but after this experience, I am for sure going to be cutting it up. I think it's going to be fine, as long as I have a place with like really good humidity, like my greenhouse cabinet, where I can root it. Everything's gonna be fine. Okay, the last thing that I wanna talk about, I've run through this video very, very fast. I'm super proud of myself. This is my PlantaPotty, and this was very kindly gifted to me, but there was no expectation that I talked about it or anything else. But I have talked about it so much because it is truly a product that changed my life. It has been absolutely integral in my watering process of my green room here, because for a very, very, very long time, I had to take all of my plants from all over my house and bring them into my kitchen sink, which it caused marital issues, and I was walking a lot more than I wanted to. It's good to get your steps in, but deep down I knew that it wasn't a very good or efficient system, and I wanted to make some changes. So I'm gonna pull this out a little bit so that you can see the actual bucket a little bit better. But basically PlantaPotty is all of these like pieces here that are 3D printed, and they all come together to create this lid for a 5-gallon bucket. So I found this bucket on the side of the road. I was actually going to buy one because I knew that they were going to be sending me this and I needed the bucket. And I was on my way to the gym one day and I just saw it on the side of the road and I was like, one man's trash is another woman's PlantaPotty base, you know? So it worked out really well for me. But anyway, so basically how this works is it has like a little system here where you can put the plant on top of it. And I found that I can also use like the entire edge of it. Like I can even put a plant like leaning a little bit here. And I can sometimes fit, depending on the pot size, like 3 or 4 plants at a time on top of this. And it's really cool. It's really a nice system to use. And it all comes apart. Like you can just pull this right out and you know, collapse it if you need to. Like you can actually store all of these things inside of the bucket if you really wanted to take it apart every time. There's also a little like trash can situation so that you can put like dead leaves in it, which I have. And also I have dead leaves at the bottom here, which there's sort of a smell going on, so I need to clean it out. But anyway, it's just a really awesome system and very, very similar to the over the sink situation that I have with the plant folio. So I still use my plant folio for watering over the sink for like my greenhouse cabinet and just other plants like in other parts of my home. But for this room specifically, it's so nice to use this because I don't have to pull all of my plants off the wall and then walk into the other room every time I have to water, because watering before was extremely daunting and it took a very long time, and now it really doesn't feel like a big deal. Like I just put a towel underneath this and then put it on top of my little storage unit down here, and I just pull plants down, set it on top, water, and then put them back on the wall. And yeah, it saves me a lot of time walking back and forth. I think that's really like the #1 thing. So if you're looking for something like this, I will link it down below so that you can check them out. They are a small business in the plant community. Like they listen to my podcast. So it's a person just like you or me who invented something that's incredible and like life-changing, honestly. And I love people who do that kind of stuff, who see a problem and fix it. And like this just, it's amazing. So I really wanted to give them a shout out and share an awesome planty company who made something that makes my life way easier. I think that's it, you guys. I really ran through that so fast. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you had any products or plants that stuck out to you this month, definitely leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on what helped you out in March, and I'm so excited for this new month in April, and we're already halfway through it, so sorry I'm a little late on this video, but it's just already really nice to see everything waking up. Like, I can see my hydrangeas are waking up, there's lots of like wildflowers growing up, and it's just really cool to see it already happening. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Also, I wanted to say, if you haven't checked out my Patreon, I have that link down below. I have 3 tiers available on my Patreon, $1, $5, or $10. And there's lots of different perks involved in that. So if you want to check it out, if you want some extra content, and if you want to go to some extra lives or chat with me on Zoom, definitely go and check out my Patreon.